Welcome to Simplify to Scale, a show dedicated to helping you scale a high impact and high profit business that you love without all of the complexity and chaos that can keep you trapped in the day-to-day. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and with decades of scaling experience, I know what actually works and what's just hype. So if you are done with all of the one-size-fits-all scaling advice and all of the overnight success promises, and instead you want proven practical strategies that will help you simplify operations, elevate your leadership, amplify profits, and scale sustainably, let's dive in and get started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Simplify to Scale show. Today's topic is super relevant if you are in a period where you are hearing all of the talk of reinvention and reimagining and all of the things with your offers, with your messaging, with everything that you're doing. And as you know, something I say all of the time on the podcast is evolutionary change over revolutionary change. And today I am super excited for Stacey Brass-Russell to join me because this is her specialty. She is going to be talking all about your genius edge and how you can look at your offers or how you can look at your messaging and how you can do it in more of an evolutionary way so you don't have to fully reinvent and throw things out and start over from scratch. So Stacey, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here today.
Hi, Krista. Thank you. I'm very excited to be here and to have this great conversation with you.
All right, let me tell you a little bit about her and then we're going to dive into all the good stuff. So Stacey is a transformational business coach, a sought-after speaker. She's the creator of Your Genius Edge and the host of the Passionate and Prosperous podcast. Her work is rooted in helping entrepreneurs turn their brilliance into high-impact offers. So first things first, before we get into messaging and offers and all the things, what is your genius edge and why is it really important, especially today?
Oh my goodness. Well, so your genius edge is really the intersection between you, like you literally as a human and all of your lived experience and your brilliance and your not just your sort of quote unquote degrees and certifications, but also what else you bring to the table. Like what are the other things that you use in the work that you do? And most importantly, what are the outcomes that you are best at helping people to get, right? So that's like that's you. And then it's the intersection between you and your offers. So then how do you deliver that work that you do best in the world when you're actually getting paid for it, right? This is what I always talk to people about. I'm like, okay, but what do you want to get paid for, right? like at the end of the day, what are people paying you for? So the way that you create, craft, put together and deliver that work that you do in the world. And then the third piece is the your sales and attraction strategy. So it's kind of like, how do you then attract the people that you're meant to work with? And what is that built-in part of your business model that has to do with the getting of clients, right? And so your genius edge is when you're using you and your brilliance in all three of those areas to make you uniquely you so that you stand out and are basically unmistakably the go-to person in your niche.
Okay. I love that so much. And this is why I wanted to talk about this with you in this week's episode, because everyone is in a little bit of, I'm finding some people were really proactive and are seeing this kind of point in the entrepreneurial journey, we'll call it, as an opportunity. But a lot of people are really feeling the pressure. And you're hearing every 5 minutes, you've got to change your offers. You've got to reinvent. You've got to completely reimagine what you're doing. People aren't buying in the same way. You can't sell high ticket. I mean, there's a million different messages out there. So talk to us about how your genius edge helps you to not get so caught up in that.
So this starts for me with seeing people thinking that the way to respond, we'll just say the way to respond to what's going on. And we all are hearing it. You even said it, right? We're in the trust recession. People aren't buying the way they used to. The buying cycles are longer, all of those things. And what people are doing, what I'm seeing a lot of, is a lot of fear-based, panic-based response to that, which is, oh no, I better change my offer. I better, I need something different. I have to charge less, all these things. But then unfortunately, if that's not what your zone of genius is, like if your genius is to work with individuals or human beings, I call it, right? So I specifically really support the people who work live with clients. Like I'm not the coach you come to for automated funnels and evergreen products. That's not my zone of genius. My zone of genius is helping the people who actually work with human beings, I call it, right? And so if what the work you do is that you work with people, that it's highly customized, that it's high touch, that you're really in there with your clients, how can you get the results that your clients want by just changing your offer completely and shortening it and making it cheaper and removing yourself and not having as much, to do with your clients? How can you actually deliver the work that you do, right? So what I am trying to help people do, especially by positioning it with this framework, your genius edge, is to help people to understand that you can't change the way that you do your work if you're putting the client at the center and putting the client first. And if you really know what outcomes your people want, right? And what problems you're helping them solve, whichever way you want to look at it, right? Or what you're helping them to achieve. If you keep that front and center, you're never going to be able to just randomly, out of fear or panic or scarcity, dumb down or change your offer to be something that you think people want because of what you're hearing with the noise in the industry. You're just going to have to sell your offer better. That's really what it boils down to. And the way you sell your offer better is by really, really getting specific and clear about what makes that offer so unique, specific, and amazing, and how you bring your brilliance and genius to the offer, which is essentially your frameworks and I call it your signature system. And it's really going all in on believing that you have a particular method and a specific genius that you bring to helping your clients. And even if you're serving one to many, even if you're not doing only one-on-one and you've got live programs, courses, whatever you want to call it, masterminds, whatever, it's really not thinking that what you have to do is remove yourself and scale it all down in terms of the delivery and the service, but it's actually doubling down on what you really do and believing that if you can talk about it the right way and you know who your ideal client is and their needs are not changing just because there's a trust recession. But the way you get people to understand how you can help them, what you do, and why you're the perfect person for it, that's probably what you actually need to be evolving right now. You don't have to change your offers and reinvent yourself. You actually have to figure out how to convey who you are, what you do, and why you're the best person for it in a way that maybe you haven't yet. And the Genius Edge framework, what I've created, is really that sales and attraction piece, is looking at, so what is going to be the best way for you with the kind of offer you have and the way you really work with people and who they are and what you're helping them to do? What are the best ways for you to attract and then sell to those people? And it may not be what used to work. It may not be easy peasy, put them through an automated funnel and have them whipping out their credit card. That's the thing that you have to evolve. But I don't think that what you have to do is change what you do at your core, because then you're stepping away from what actually makes you, what makes you special, what makes you unique, and what makes you the only person that can do what you do.
So good and so true, because I mean, we can't ignore the fact that yes, buying cycles are longer. Yes, we are in a trust recession. Yes, people are buying differently. All of those things are true. And it does not mean that you have to throw out everything that you had and everything that you are, unless you personally are at a point where this is your actual catalyst to make changes that you've wanted to make for a really long time and you just didn't allow yourself to make until now. That's different.
I
But
agree. And Krista, I'm just going to say that, but I don't know anyone that can afford to burn down their current business while they're trying to figure out that next thing that lights them up. And so the reason, and this is one of the things you and I connect on, the use of the word evolve, right? I mean, evolve is one of my frameworks actually. And I know you talk about evolution all the time. I feel like if you think evolution versus reinvention or burning it all down, you get to continue to do what you're doing, because who can afford to just not, I mean, maybe some people can, but I don't know anybody, who can throw out their current business and start from scratch. What if you didn't have to do that? What if you were able to see that what's next for you is really just the thing that the universe is telling you it's time for you to do, because maybe you've plateaued with what you've been doing, or maybe you feel that there's more now. Maybe there's more for you to be able to do, but it doesn't mean that you're doing something so wildly different than what you did before that you're literally a different person.
yeah, it's so true. And I tell this story a lot, but I had a client once and I loved her so much. She was amazing. And she had this program that people loved, loved, loved. And she personally felt she was done with it and
Yeah.
she burned it to the ground. And her business has never, ever recovered since her doing that. And ironically, she went back to it. Not because she wanted to, but because she could not get back to the same level of revenue without it. And so
Yeah.
I think the best advice I was ever given was one of my early business mentors. And he said to me, anytime you feel like you need to make a big change, it's probably no more than a 15-degree shift. And if
Oh
you
my
keep
God.
a 15-degree shift in mind, you will find that usually that is the answer. It's not that you want to actually burn it all to the ground. It's that it got to the point that you've gotten so disconnected or so something from it that it feels that way. But look for the 15-degree shift. And I think that's so much of what you talk about, really.
Yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of times when people feel bored, dispassionate, maybe it's not converting the same anymore, right? Because that does happen too. Maybe you do have an offer, or a program that's your sort of signature thing, and you've launched it umpteen times, right? And all of a sudden, with all of these factors that we're talking about, you're not seeing the same conversions, for example, off your launches, or it doesn't feel like it's as easy for you to get people to enroll, or you're not, whatever it is. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to throw it in the garbage, right? But what it might mean is that you get to do, and this is what your Genius Edge is about, right? It's really about, I believe that as business owners, especially as successful business owners, I actually think that we have to pretty regularly recheck in with our vision, our mission. Like, why are we doing what we're doing? And that's why I started out by saying, well, what do you want to get paid for? Because at the end of the day, right, if we want to make money in our businesses, we have to be really clear about, we could do all the things. I mean, I have so many friends and clients that they're like, well, maybe I should start a podcast, or maybe I should do this, or maybe I should do that. And I'm like, great. Let's use your brilliance in whatever ways that you want. But I'm a business strategist, and I'm always going to still come back to, okay, but at the end of the day, what do you want people to pay you for? What do you want to be selling if you want to make money in your business, right? And we have to reverse engineer everything from that, like from your offers. And so if your current offer isn't selling as much right now, or it's not converting off your launches or your webinars, is it the program? Do you want to give it a facelift? Do you want to add something to it? Do you want to make it appeal to like a next level, for example, client? Maybe your people have all gone through your stuff, and now maybe it's time to like give them something new too. Maybe everyone is evolving, right? But there's so many things to consider looking at, right? Rather than thinking that nothing is working, or you're bored, and just because you feel like things have plateaued or they're not working the same doesn't mean that they have to be completely burnt down, reinvented, or whatever. It might be that evolution. And like you said, what if it was just 15%, and that 15% was enough to get you lit up, fired up, excited again, right? Because when we're excited about our offers and when we love our offer, other people are going to love it too, and they're going to buy it. Like that, I will put my stake in the ground for that.
I agree fully. You can feel in someone's energy and the way they talk about something if they're going through the motions and they're like, God, I hope somebody buys this thing, versus if they're like, this is the best thing ever.
Yep.
It's a total different energy.
Yep. Yep. And when people can feel that from you, again, I'm not saying you should pull one over on people, but when you have that energy about your offer and you know why it's so great and you know why people should pick you to be the one that they're going to invest with and that they're going to, work with, and that they want to help them, when that energy is coming through, I actually believe that it is way easier to sell, like way easier. And I think that your conversions go up by a lot, and, I do both one-on-one and I run an academy, a group program. So I sell two different kinds of offers, like the one-on-one is different than the group experience. And I love them both so much. And I think that when you're talking to someone and you are really, that's coming through and they feel from you, oh my God, she loves this and she cares so much. I really think that that's what I mean by your sales and attraction strategy too, with your genius edge. I think when you're using your genius edge, your sales and attraction it becomes completely merged into how you have conversations, how you make offers, how you teach, how you sell. It's all part of you really believing in the work that you do and what you offer.
Yeah, I agree fully. And so if somebody is like, all right, things kind of stopped working and I'm using this as a catalyst for change I've wanted to make, or if somebody is just recognizing that they need to do something different because the results aren't what they used to be, where do they get started so they stay within their genius edge or tap into it if they feel like they haven't yet?
Well, I think that, one of the things that I teach about niche, I know niche is like it's such a polarizing word, right? But I really do believe in niche, but I don't believe that your niche is just an ideal client avatar. I think that a lot of people simplify niche to being who your ideal client is. And I actually teach niche as a much more, I think of your niche as this sort of like, you're a multifaceted gem, right? And your niche is really made up of you are I don't have one client who has come to me thinking that their niche was, XY. They were trying to come up with a profitable niche, right? And then they come to me, and after we do a deeper dive, everybody always ends up realizing that your niche is going to be pretty close in some way to who you are. It doesn't mean a demographic. It doesn't mean your niche is going to be someone who's the exact same age as you and, lives in the same town as you, but your niche is very often somebody who you're gonna get because you understand on a really deep level how to help them get the outcomes that they want, or how to help them solve a problem that they have. Because all of our problems and challenges that we have when it comes to getting the outcomes we want or solving the problems that we have, the challenges that we all face are very specific to who we are, what we do, what our life circumstances are. And whoever you work with as a service provider, you're going to pick the person who you think understands you and gets you. So anyway, so your niche is a lot of who you are and what makes you like kind of you, right? Like I always say, I attract clients who one of the things they like about me and why they want to work with me is because I was on Broadway. I used to own a yoga studio. They think of me, they see that I'm this sort of soulful and spiritual, and, they like all those things about me. And that's part of what my niche is like kind of who I am, right? And then the other part of your niche is, what are you really the best at helping people to do? Like, what really is your zone of genius? What outcomes can you really, really say to someone from a place of total alignment? I can help you do that. This is what I really, really am best at doing, and I am going to be able to help you. What's that? And then what's your unique way that you do it, your process? And then the fourth piece is, and who's the person that you're best at serving? And the flip of that is, and who's going to be attracted to you? Who's going to pick you? Who's going to look right? And I always say, like, I'm like I'm the Jewish girl in New York, and I'm New Yorkie. Who's going to pick me to be their coach, right? Like not everybody, but the right people. And so, I think you've got to start with that. Like if you're in this place where you're sort of like having that moment of plateau or things aren't converting, you got to go back first and go, okay, let me do a recheck of like, who am I? And how do I really want to be showing up and saying, like, what do I want to be saying I do? Right. And then the next piece is, and what's the way that you want to be working with people? I think that the way people craft their offers these days is sometimes a little problematic because they're not really thinking of the offer from what's the best way for me to serve my people with what I'm saying I'm helping them with, and to really craft offers where you feel like you're getting to do the work in a way that you really really want to do it. So I think it's hard to sell something that you feel like you put together because you were like, people only want like 4 or 6 weeks. They want fast. They want this. They don't want, and I don't want to have to, be on this many Zooms or this many calls. And I don't want to do sales calls. Like, okay, great. But you got to find out the way that your people are going to want to be served and how you can help people get the best outcomes. So I think that going back to what may feel a little bit like the fundamental basics, there's no such thing as like having a service-based business if you don't go back to that fundamental thing, which is, what do you do? Like, what do you really do? And then building from there. And I don't think that you're starting from scratch. I really don't. I think though that you're revisiting your core sort of like, what is it that I really, really am here to do? And how do I want to deliver that? I don't know if I answered the question perfectly just now.
No, you did. And it's really interesting because I'm in this stage right now where I'm getting ready to kick off my certifications for the next cohort in October. And I've had a year now with the people in my current cohorts, and it's been fantastic. It's been amazing. I learned so much from them. And I'm doing a lot of restructuring of the program, and I'm doing it based on their experience and their feedback.
Yes.
It was super fascinating to do this. And it's been a long time since I've done a beta because I've done the same thing for 30 years. And
Yes.
so, but all of a sudden I packaged something a little differently. So I said, let me actually open this up for kind of a founding group and see. And part of what they got, aside from a fantastic price point, was more of me and the promise to give me feedback on it. And it was so fascinating because what they recommended was never something or a way that I would have structured it. And when they first shared ideas, and they didn't tell me exactly what they wanted, but it was through feedback that I pieced it together. And I thought, this is going to be not only so much simpler for them, but it's going to be so much simpler and less heavy for me. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gotten that on my own otherwise without doing that rep and doing that feedback and looking at it through fresh eyes instead of saying I've done the same thing for so many years. I'm just going to keep doing what I've done.
Yeah. And I will say I love that. I love that, Krista. My 1 year academy that I have for more beginning coaches and teachers and experts who are building their service-based businesses. That academy is actually an evolution of my original signature program that started out as 10 weeks, then it was 3 months, then it was 5 months. I ran it twice at each of those lengths, and every single time I learned more about like, oh my God, like my people are not the kind of people that come in, want to learn for 3 months and then go off by themselves to implement. And they actually would rather be in the coaching and mentoring live container. I know don't love that word, but they would rather have the ongoing support as they're doing stuff, as they're taking action, which is how I ended up with a 1 year program. But if I tried to create my program in a vacuum and just thought like, well, this is what I think people want. And you know what? There are some people who don't want to be in a 1 year program. And guess what? They're not my ideal client, because I built the program after years of seeing what helped people succeed, how people really were able to get great outcomes, what they really needed. And I kept evolving so that when I talk about my program, I'm like, yeah, I built this for humans and for what the experience is of my ideal clients. Life happens, people get interrupted, their kid gets sick, they get called off to go care for an aging parent. And if the program is shorter than a year, they start stressing out and feeling like they missed something, like they're behind, they fell behind, they missed their investment, they didn't get everything out of it. And I was like, over the years, I was like, I need to eliminate these things for people, because starting and growing a business ain't for the faint of heart. It's not a quick thing. It doesn't happen overnight. And if you feel stressed and pressured that, you only have 5 months for this program you paid for, and 1 month of it, you feel like you couldn't fully commit, you're just going to be thinking all these negative thoughts. So that's how I create offers. And this is what I try to teach people when I work with them. I'm really big on offer creation and delivery, because I think we should always be thinking about what's going to get my people the best results. And then, of course, how do you want to be delivering that? Now, I have coaches that work for me, so I'm not doing all of the coaching myself. And that's one of the ways I've chosen to scale my business, and still keep myself in it. Because at the end of the day, the people that join my programs, they're joining because of me. And so I'm not going to have people pay for a year program at what for them is a high ticket offer for a beginner, and have them feel like we're Stacey, right? So I've really crafted, and it's taken me years to do it. But I think that that's really always at the center of how I think of my business. And it's the people I work with, that's who I want to work with. I want to work with people who are not looking to scale at any cost, but they're actually looking to scale and grow their businesses by continuing to do what you just said and what I do too, which is to evolve and to say, all right, but I'm going to see how can I serve them, and also have the business model that I want to have and that really works for me. Where also I get to do the work that I love the most, which is coaching. I have no interest in having a business for me personally where I'm just selling pre-recorded, stuff on autopilot. And there's no, I know people who make a lot of money doing that. It's just not for me, because my zone of genius is actually the human connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is a great segue into telling people what you do, where they can find you, and if you've got anything exciting coming up.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so I am a business strategist. I'm also I'm really an offer and sales coach in a lot of ways. I help people create their offers and their content to sell their offers, because I really do focus on organic funnel strategy, right? So we didn't use that word yet today, but I really help people who are not going the route of I'm going to spend thousands of dollars on ads and run a big automated funnel and whatever. I really am for the people who are using their genius and their expertise to be visible, to go out and talk about what they do, like we're doing right now, being on a podcast, and create their content and their workshops and their masterclasses and go out and be speakers, so that they can literally connect with their audience and accelerate that know, like, and trust factor for people to want to work with them. So I'm really the everything from the what do you really do, and then how do we want to use what you do to build out your business, your offers, and your strategy for how you're going to attract people and grow an audience of ideal clients. And I don't believe that you need a huge audience, but you do need someone to know about what you do, or no one's going to pay you. so there's that. I can be found in all the usual places, but I love to direct people to my podcast, Passionate and Prosperous. It's years of me getting in there and talking about all the things that I feel are really important about having a life and business that you really love, where you're doing what lights you up and getting to make money doing it, and all the socials and everything. And I would love to share that, I am one of the things I think is good about me is that I walk the walk that I talk. And so I really personally love the in-person connection. Even I consider the Zoom to have an element of the human connection. Like I do a lot of live workshops, live trainings. I do a lot of stuff that I, put my voice and face out there. But being in the room in person is like where my heart lives. I have a background in being a yoga teacher here in New York City for almost 2 decades. And now that I don't do that anymore, what I do is an annual in-person event here in New York City, which is an opportunity for people to come be in the room with me. And this one in October, October 17th and 18th, we're really taking your genius edge, this intersection, and we're doing the evolution right there in the room. And this is what I'm really best at helping people to do is, have that space and have the right prompts and the right inspiration to take the time to really, like go deep again into like, why do you do what you do? What do you really want to be doing? What are you great at doing? What makes you special? What's your talent and your special sauce? And how can we help you? How can I help you to see how you want to put yourself into the world using all of that as the way that you attract people and then into the offers that are the best for you to be putting out into the world. So that's happening in October here in New York. And I've got an incredible panel of guest experts that are going to be coming in on one of the days. And we've got, it's really special. It's in a gorgeous space in Union Square. And I'm a foodie, so I always provide the most amazing catering at my events. It's really going to be special. So that's October 17th and 18th. And if anybody wants to be in New York, perfect time of year, also beautiful fall, I would love for them to consider coming. And if they want to talk to me about it, anyone can reach out to me on any platform. I'm very available, and you will never hear from a bot from me.
I love it, Stacey. If they want to learn more about your event, where can they find more?
On my website, staceybrassrussell.com. You won't be able to miss it. It's the banner across the top. It's on the events page. It's on the pop-up. Where this is the next big thing that, that I would love to. And I also want to say that even though it's the next big thing, this is not a conference. This is truly an event. It's going to be around 50 people, which is a nice size. So you're not going to feel like you're at this overwhelming conference. And if you are, a values driven, mission driven, service driven business owner, entrepreneur, coach, whatever you consider yourself, creative, thought leader, expert, you'll be in a room full of people that I think you'll feel really good about spending 2 days with, because I think we need that, right? Like it's so nourishing to be around other inspiring people that you might find your next collaborator or your next mentor or your next client even in this room.
Fantastic. All right. One final question for you, and I can't wait to hear what you have to share. How in your business do you scale smarter, not harder, and keep things lean?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm the queen of this, Krista. So I'm just going to say I scale smarter, not harder by having built a program that is evergreen. And what that means is you can join at any time. Makes it a little bit interesting that I do have to launch though. But I'm a real live deliverer. So my business is lean and clean because I have a program that I believe in, and I bring people into that. It's high ticket. So I'm not trying to build a business on volume and low ticket, which is to me like the more complicated version of a business. So mine is simple because I'm really focusing on what I do best and how I can serve my clients best. And that keeps it that I have a team of me, my designer, my podcast editor, and my business manager. And I've got 2 coaches that work in my program. And the team effort, we do it all together. We launch together. We run the program together. My business manager has a call once a month in my program. So I keep it really in the family. And yeah, I've built a business that really works for me because I can have as many people as I want in that program and still serve at a really high level. So that's my scaling strategy. And I'll just say that as you grow your business, I believe that there is a strategy where, you can raise your investments for your one-on-one and have that amazing group experience for the people that are not necessarily right for the one-on-one. And that's a business model that works really well for me. And you don't need a huge audience for that.
That is so true. Stacey, so much value in today's episode. Thank you so much for being on the show. I hope you all took as much away from this as I did, and I will see you again next week. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Simplify to Scale. If you'd like to take things further, I invite you to join me for my Scale Smarter, Not Harder interactive workshop. Head to strategicopsinstitute.com/scale smarter to get registered. Not only will we dive into what might be keeping you trapped in the day-to-day, but you'll have the opportunity to ask me your questions live. If you got value out of today's episode, I'd love if you'd take a moment and rate and review the show so more businesses can learn to scale more simply and sustainably. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and I'll see you again next week.